Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every week, it is the one and only Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. Hey, Mike, real quick, I want to throw out a really cool recommendation for you.
Ooh, throw it.
If you have not watched David Letterman and John Mulaney sit down and I always get the name of his show wrong. My Next Guest Needs No Introduction. It's a long one, isn't it?
Ooh.
It's a really, I think that's what it is. It's My Next Guest, Please, or whatever it is. But anyways, it's really, really good.
I just need to watch that show in general, not only because I know how much you praise David Letterman for his interview styles, but just between random clips that have come out. Like this year kind of brought some things up to me about Letterman. One of them being he was one of the first late night hosts that got Siskel and Ebert to appear on his show. And
Oh,
he
really?
was like one of the early adopters. And then like he had great, there's a great series of interviews that someone put on YouTube where he had Peter O'Toole coming in every now and then. He's mentioned in this mini documentary I saw on YouTube about Pee Wee Herman when he was starting to get big. Like Letterman just wasn't afraid to have offbeat or just offbeat people or raconteurs. And it was so different from like Johnny Carson. I love Johnny Carson's show, but it was very much polished and
Yes.
glitzy, and it's like it had a formula. It was like Big Tent. Everybody was in, and like it catered to so many different things and changed the way late night ran. But even today, like it's really funny. Conan was probably the like not only in time slot but also in shtick. I feel like he was a successor to Letterman.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend is on the line with us this week. We've got some movies to review. We've got some trailers. We're going to talk more Star Wars Acolyte. And sadly, we lost another great actor. Let's start with the reviews. Kevin Costner, is this the project that got him out of Yellowstone?
That is so complicated, but it may have been.
Okay.
Because the whole thing was Kevin Costner has been carrying the vision of Horizon and American Saga since 1988. It started as a single movie called Sidewinder. And then I think I was listening to he's on our in-house podcast, Real Blend, and I listened to his interview in prep to talk to him. And one of the things he said to the guys was someone had said no to the one movie, so he's like, okay, fine, then I'll just make 4. And over the course of this many years, he's expanded his vision into a 4-chapter Western saga that he's put his own money in. That it sounds like that was the big reason he didn't agree with the shooting schedule for Yellowstone, because he was trying to get a certain amount of time off that he could get these movies done in a fairly quick pace. Like he's already got the first 2 in the can set for the chapter 1's this weekend, chapter 2's in August. And then if I understand correctly, he's already at work on 3.
I'll put it this way, and we'll get to what you thought of it here in just one second. But if Kevin Costner's a part of a Western, I'm in. That's what it comes down to. I don't care what it is. I'm in.
Oh, hands down. I mean, I didn't get to ask him, and if I get to talk to him again, I was thinking of saving it for like, if I am lucky, I will be on the other junkets for the rest of this series. But I seriously want to ask him, like, are you kind of like in that James Cameron mindset where Westerns are the only things you're going to direct from this point? Because this was his first directorial film since Open Range in 2003.
And I will tell you right now, and I know you haven't seen it, if anybody out there wants to know how to make a Western movie right, go watch Open Range.
Kevin Costner is quintessentially Western.
Yes.
I've always dug the dude. Like, no matter what he does, I've always dug the dude. But you can tell that he's got that soft spot in his heart for the Old West.
No, he does, but that's not to say that he can't do other stuff well, like a modern-day Western with Yellowstone. He's really great in that. What was the NASA movie about the numbers?
Hidden Figures.
Yeah, Hidden Figures. He was great in that.
I think he was also fantastic in the Chris Pine, Jack Ryan movie.
Yeah, or Postman.
I still need to see The Postman.
The Postman, it's one of those movies you want to like, but it's like, oh.
I have a feeling I'm going to like it just because of what I've come to experience. Oh wait, no, this is his 4th directorial. Wait, I forgot about I don't remember if he directed Postman.
I don't remember either, but didn't he do Waterworld too?
He starred in it, but he didn't direct it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to the movie at hand, Horizon. What do we think?
I Postman rules.
Okay, that's pretty much sums it
Down.
up.
What you said? Just I'm not gonna mince words here. It's
He did direct
Kevin,
Postman
again,
real quick. He did direct Postman.
awesome. Kevin Costner knows in his bones the Western.
Yeah.
He also isn't afraid to branch out of just a typical Western theme, because in Horizon, it's not just about settlers on the old frontier. It's about the Civil War being fought at the moment. It's about indigenous people seeing settlers coming out and sort of encroaching on their way of life and becoming fed up with that. It's a multifaceted all-star epic. And first part itself is 3 hours. And it's like 3 hours, 1 minute. And then if I read correctly, part 2 is 2 hours, 44 minutes. They're going to clock in around 3 hour mark each one, I think. And that's even after him saying that he's gone and cut these things to good fighting weight. But I honestly could watch more because of the fact that this is Lord of the Rings without the source material. This is his big sweeping epic where we don't know how all the parts are going to come together in the end, but you can feel things are moving. You can feel things are in the works, and you're just entranced by it. The man has as practical of a filmmaking approach as anything. He's got a wonderful all-star cast in here, and let me tell you, there's a moment in this movie where I'm sitting and I'm thinking, wow, he's got all these different people in here that are fantastic, and this is a Western. I kind of wish, I hope he could bring Will Patton in at some point. And then maybe one or two scenes after I thought that, there's Will Patton working on a wagon wheel. Costner just gets it.
Yeah.
And I am sitting there, and it's a gorgeous film to look at. John Debney's score is amazing. Like, there are parts of this movie where any movie worth its salt that has a good score, it's like, there's tracks that you remember, and a good score knows when to hang back and when to amp things up. There are certain moments that this score really amps things up, and I noticed it in a good way. It's like, oh,
that's cool.
Like her sweeping old school sort of Aaron Copland Western, but also a little bit of Sergio Leone spaghetti Western with like the guitars in the end. We are so lucky to have filmmakers that still make gigantic visions like this and just remember what it was like to go to the movies and make something that looked like it belonged on a screen.
I gotcha.
And I cannot wait for chapter 2 forward, because it's already shaping up to be a very intriguing story, and the stuff that the cast has told me is teasing some really exciting developments that may be heartbreaking.
All right. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me talking about Horizon. That's awesome. We'll have to go see it. One of the other movies coming out is another Quiet Place movie. We have not seen this, but you have thoughts already.
Oh, do I have thoughts? So, again, I have not seen A Quiet Place day one.
Hey, hold on, real quick. If you can figure out how to do, like, you know how they put the stuff up on the posters?
Yeah.
The quotes from critics? Yours, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.
I want to find the right movie that I would want to put that on the poster, because there have been several over time. And as of the time of our recording, there are 70 reviews for A Quiet Place day one, and it looks like it's at an 87 on Rotten Tomatoes. We'll see where that goes in a little while. But I have not seen Quiet Place day one.
Okay.
I've seen Quiet Place, and I loved A Quiet Place. That came out of nowhere. It was one of those movies where it just came out of nowhere. You didn't know what to expect, and then it just landed like a punch. Quiet Place Part 2 was one of the most disappointing sequels I have ever seen. And
really?
Part of it is because they end on that stupid f***ing cliffhanger where it just, I don't mind that you end on a cliffhanger, but you don't have your script for your third movie yet. And we don't know when we're going to see your third movie. But you're leaving it on such a cliffhanger that you would expect Quiet Place Part 3, what's the frequency, Kenneth, is going to happen in a couple months or maybe a year. And then the strategy was like, no, we're going to go and make this prequel. It's like, okay, what about the third one? Well, we'll see. John Krasinski's doing Jack Ryan, and he's got the Imaginary Friends movie. We'll see what happens.
Oh, all right. Well, so I'm guessing you're not going to like this, and I don't know how people are.
I really don't know. I don't know, and that is what still interests me at this point, because even though I'm of the mind that Quiet Place, monsters are attracted to noise. Monsters land in New York City. How does New York not get decimated in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
But putting that aside, I am very curious to see how and if they find a new angle of novelty in this approach. I mean, I think it's the first one that John Krasinski's not directing. I'm not sure if he had a story credit on this one, because I believe he does have a story credit, so yeah, he did help shape it. But I'm very curious about of course the whole thing's if anybody, looks like the whole description's on Wikipedia right now, so spoiler alert for anybody who doesn't want to ruin it. But yeah, I'm interested. I need the cat to live. I need that cat to live.
All right. If you want to go see it, go see it. I guess that's kind of where we're going to leave it. We don't need to beat this thing into the ground.
Also, give the monsters a damn name.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me as we talk about more stuff. Real quick, I want to give you a quick review of The Acolyte, because we're in that world.
So now it's your turn to have the shouting stick.
I will give them this. Last night, the action we watched it a day late, but this week's episode of The Acolyte, by far the most action-packed version of it, right?
Oh.
Like, lots of fun. They had like 3 different action scenes going on at kind of the same time, and they were pretty well done. It only covered like a couple minutes, but it was fairly well done. We had talked earlier this week and about some of the different theories out there, some of the thoughts I've had about it, thoughts that one of my buddies here in the building had, where, the big bad, hoping it was going to be one of the mothers from the Space Witches. I had said about one of the theories I had was about Anakin, because twins are always a big deal in the Force, and maybe that's why he was the chosen one, because even if the 2 characters from The Acolyte were conceived by the Force, that's fine. But maybe what makes Anakin special as the chosen one is it's kind of yin and yang. He has both light and dark in him, and that's why he can do both.
Yeah.
And, I was thinking a little bit more about that. And then when they show him in Ahsoka, when he's in the Force world or whatever, and there's a couple scenes where he does flash back and forth between the 2 different sides of the Force. So I'm like, maybe that's kind of maybe there's more to the chosen one lore, that it's not, part of it is you're going to bring balance to the Force, but that's because you can wield both sides safely, or you can have both sides in you. Does that make sense?
Look, I just really wish they would start the gray path officially in Star Wars lore, instead of just letting it be a really cool fan theory. I think that needs to be officially canonized.
Okay. So, all right. So going back to The Acolyte, just a couple thoughts on it. I really...
Anything to do with cutting hair with a lightsaber?
Yeah. Well, that was...
That seems to be the hot topic of the day, Ed. People cutting their hair with lightsabers, and I don't know why.
Just to figure it out, or just to kind of go through the whole thing, this deals with us finding out who the bad guy with the really cool helmet is. And you're hoping that it's going to be...
Tale as old as time in the Star Wars universe.
You're hoping that it's going to be, one of the mothers or someone kind of bad. Well, it just turns out to be some dude. It's and there are spoilers here. It's the dude that was taking May around, or the whatever her name was, around to the different places, and all of a sudden he's the master hidden in disguise. I'm like, as soon as it happened, as soon as we found out who it was, I went lame. Because my wife and I, we were actually having an argument about which mother we thought it was.
Put a guy in a helmet, make him evil.
Yeah, pretty much. The one thing that really took me out of it, though, is you have the one Jedi Master start fighting this guy, and he's still got the helmet on, and you're like, okay, he's barely holding his own with this guy, right? All of a sudden, he gets kind of kicked out of the fight, and his apprentice takes over, and she, just goes after this guy, hangs with him and everything. I'm like, I don't get it. How did the Master barely hang on? And And then someone's probably going to be, oh, different lightsaber styles and all this. But, I mean, there was some cool action. I'm not going to sit here and say there wasn't some cool fights, some cool visuals and that sort of thing. But it was so f***ing lame that it's just that dude.
Shut up and eat your Star Wars.
Yeah. And then when you get to the end, what it is the twin thing, like I said a couple episodes ago, where whatever twin trope you can think of, it's probably going to happen. They did. She switched places with her unconscious twin. And then, yes, she used a lightsaber to cut her hair so she looked more like her sister. But you know what was weird about it? It's like, this guy's a master of the Jedi and the Force and can feel things and do all this stuff. You can't tell the difference between the evil twin and the good twin?
Yeah, that's kind of bordering on like occlumency from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I mean, there was that, but I mean, they better have like a big reveal about what this guy's motives are, because he was like, I just want to live and use my power the way I want. It's like, okay.
I just want to live and use my powers the way I want to. I'm going to catch up and use my powers.
It was just like, really? That's it?
Against cow.
You're doing all of this for that? Okay. And someone will probably argue with me and say, oh, there's a deeper meaning to that, or, some whatever. Like, you had him.
You can basically print that on a t-shirt at this point. Someone's going to argue with me about that. Just print it in the Star Wars font.
Like, as a one-off episode, like, if this is how it started, I would have been like, this show's going to be f***ing awesome. But, like, I just feel like it's going to fall apart here, and their motives, which they think are going to be really deep and moving, are not going to be. And it's just going to be like, okay.
It was Agatha all along.
Pretty much. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me. And again, not to take away, the visuals were cool. The choreography was awesome. I don't buy that a Jedi Master can't tell the difference between the two twins, one of which he trained. And no, I'm sorry, I can't imagine you just using a lightsaber to cut your hair that quick and it looks perfect.
Yeah.
And
not unless you have like laser scissors.
And how did the Jedi Master guy not go, you smell burning hair? Did you burn your hair? What's going on here? Anyway, so that was
Did you hit all the impulse engines again?
Everybody always focuses on
very sad Wookiee.
Everybody always focuses on the that thing. I kind of trailed off at the end, but everybody forgets about the
Oh, making me sad.
All right, that's Star Wars Acolyte. I'm sure it's going to disappoint even more next week. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me. We had a couple trailers come out. I don't want to spend a ton of time on these, but what were kind of the big ones that came out this week, Mike?
We had several big trailers come out this week because one of the we finally got to look at Nosferatu. Robert Eggers, the director of The Northman and The Lighthouse, and Novovich now has his take on Nosferatu, which looks appropriately creepy.
Yeah.
And also does not show you Nosferatu at all, which I was very glad about. Because it's easy for so many trailers these days to give you everything. And while I know this is just a teaser, it's like, please, just don't let him show up in a trailer. Don't let him show up until opening night when everybody gets to look him right in the face.
I still want a movie where they never show the monster.
You have to do that. You have to do that right.
I'm not saying
that's a very hard balance to strike.
Listen, I am not saying it would be easy at all, but the imagination is so much more powerful than whatever they're gonna. That's what, like, here's your Star Wars reference or Star Trek reference for the week. When they showed the Breen, what was inside their helmets. That was always the big mystery of what was in there, what's going on. And your imagination is going to come up with such a better story and a better look than what they're going to show. And I think that mystery of not showing a monster would be really, really cool. So what were some of the other trailers we got? We got a Batman one of some sort, didn't we?
Batman Cape Crusader, which is an animated series that I believe is supposed to, it's either continuing or it's just in the style of what the Batman the animated series was in the 90s. It is Bruce Timm, one of the producers of that show, is also a producer on here, along with J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves, who co-wrote and directed The Batman. And it looks fantastic. It does. Basically, I've heard it is like a sequel to animated series, but they're doing things that they couldn't do. They're going to go push things in a direction that they couldn't go because they were on a broadcast network showing on at like a kid's time slot. So I don't think it's going to go like hardcore, but it's going to be like going for the stuff that Mask of the Phantasm wanted to go for, but wasn't allowed. And I think they might be wrapping up a story that has long been dormant in the Batman comics universe, because one of the characters that we see in the trailer is Onomatopoeia.
Oh, okay.
Now, for people who don't know who Onomatopoeia is, Kevin Smith introduced him in Batman Cacophony, and then eventually he was also in Batman The Widening Gear. These two books are amazing. And Widening Gear ends on this cliffhanger that I am still hoping he'll finish, because they even announced a third book, Bellicosity, and it was supposed to come out in 2014. That book has not been finished, and if it has, it just hasn't been released. So I'm hoping if they're adapting this guy into this series, they're going to finish the arc. And I would love to see, I need to know what happens with that. So this looks fantastic. Streaming as of August 1st. I can't wait.
You know what? Say what you want about DC and their live action movies. They have the animated stuff figured out.
Oh, they always have. They've always had the animated stuff figured out. And I think that's why DC Comics have endured, because no matter what happened with the live action stuff, they've always had this in their back pocket.
Yes, they will. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me. What was the other?
And that'll be on Prime Video.
Okay, cool. What other trailer did we get? Because I'm not gonna lie with you. I don't know if it was just the week in general, but I saw none of these.
It was a busy week. It was pretty busy because, and speaking of Prime Video, the first trailer for Red One has come out, and this is the long teased Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons as Santa holiday movie.
I will tell you this straight up: I didn't even make it through the trailer before I did not care about this movie.
It looks interesting. And I'm glad that it's going to theatrical, because originally it was just going to be a Prime Video exclusive, but now Amazon MGM Studios are sending it to theaters. It's going to be in theatrical, IMAX, the whole thing on November 15th. I'm okay with this trailer, but it just feels like it's trying to do a lot.
Yeah.
And another thing is, like, if Santa's so jacked, how did he get kidnapped so easily?
I couldn't make it through this.
We'll say
I've had enough of The Rock this year, mainly because of WWE. I'm over him at this point. You know what? If you put some other tough guy in this, maybe it's one where I go, okay, that's pretty rad. kind of fun idea, but I don't know.
Like Batista or Momoa, maybe.
Sure, Momoa would be great. I'll take anything Momoa, but I don't know why I'm just over The Rock. I don't need to see him anymore. I don't need to see him not get beat up in a movie or what have you. I'm tired of it. I'm ready for a break.
Shut up and eat your rock.
Yeah, pretty much. What else we got, Mike? Was that kind of all the trailers this week?
No, there's at least 3 more.
Oh, geez.
And 2 are going to be easy to talk about, but the one that I was really impressed with is Robert Zemeckis' new movie Here.
Okay.
And it's Tom Hanks and Robin Wright are being reunited after 30 years being in Forrest Gump together. They're playing one of the couples that are the focus of this movie. And basically, Robert Zemeckis loves to do experimental stuff. He likes to do experimental stuff with technology, with storytelling. This one looks like the big technology experiment is he's using the volume, that big LED screen that Mandalorian started making popular. So that's his big tech advance. And also it looks like some de-aged CGI, because Tom Hanks and Robin Wright are going to play their younger selves and their older selves as well. But the older part looks like it's more practical makeup. But basically it's going from prehistoric times to, I guess, present day in the same location. In the same location, literally that living room, where that living room stands is going to be the location of most of this story. And seeing everything build around that and these lives build in there, I think it looks really good, and I know you don't care.
No, it's not that. You know what I thought of when you said that, and I was kind of piecing through the trailer here.
What?
I started thinking of Cloud Atlas.
That's exactly why I'm excited.
And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I did not like Cloud Atlas. It really isn't that. It was a tough movie to watch and kind of keep track of, and it was a thinking person's movie is what it comes down to.
It very much was, and that's why I love it. I love the stories that are involved in there and the way it's told, and even like Tom Hanks taking big swings there. Everybody taking big swings in there. Although I am glad that you brought up Cloud Atlas because it leads into part of the last two trailers we have to discuss, because we got a Mark Wahlberg double feature here, B-sox, and one of those. Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, going back to Tom Hanks for just a second. I'm sure it'll be great. It's him. It's Zemeckis. I'm sure it will be wonderful.
And I'm sure that's exactly what everyone said to themselves before they hit play on Pinocchio.
All right, Mike Wahlberg.
No, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like, what?
Hey, by the way,
What happened?
I was going forward to your flight risk.
We can just end the show here if you want. I'll turn this car right around.
Because the picture you sent me of flight risk, the poster, Mark Wahlberg sort of looks like Mike Tyson.
There are so many questions that I have in the logistics of that statement, because I no.
Look at the poster you sent me with it being kind of
no, she doesn't.
It sort of looks
like
I thought it was Mike Tyson. Okay, tell me about the movie, Mike.
I was gonna, and then you're like, oh, hold on, let me talk about Tom Hanks.
Oh God.
It wasn't even the next movie I was going to talk to you about. There's another movie coming on Netflix called The Union, and it's Halle Berry as a spy bringing Mark Wahlberg into the adventure because they used to love each other in high school, and now they're reunited, and she's taking him from Jersey to London. That's that movie done and dusted. It actually does look kind of fun.
So she's
and more J.K. Simmons too.
So she's the spy, and he's the guy from high school.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's nice little role reversal there. And he has to be trained to be like a spy.
I love it.
A lot of
out this
comedy
week?
potential there.
Okay, August 16th is when that's
August
going on the
16th,
list.
Only on Netflix.
My wife and I now.
What you and your wife are going to watch that?
No, I said we're going to have to put it on the list. My wife and I now have a list of stuff that when we say, "Oh man, we should watch this," we put it on the list, because whenever we give the time to actually watch something, we never know what to watch.
Yeah, that happens here too.
So I'm
Definitely.
like, I'm seeing
and
this.
Cues,
I'm like,
this are only so reliable.
Yeah, this looks awesome. We'll have to add it to the list.
Yeah.
Anywho, all right.
And then
what happened? Where are we?
I don't know. I was waiting to see if you were resetting or what you were doing, because I don't want to step on your toes here.
You know what? Just talk. Let's just see what happens here.
Okay, fine. That's what we do with this whole damn show. And that is why we are now going to talk about Flight Risk.
All right.
Being released by Lionsgate this October, directed by Mel Gibson.
Yes!
And this is the first time I think he's done something that's not like a historical epic drama. Like, he's gone in the reverse. Like, this is a tighter movie that looks like it's taking place all in an airplane.
Okay.
And the whole thing is they show Mark Wahlberg having this ridiculous Southern accent, and he's like, "I'm going to be taking you guys to New York," and it's like, "Oh yeah, buckle up and ye howdy," and it's Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey plays an air marshal who's bringing Topher Grace, who plays a criminal / witness that's testifying as a crime family from somewhere remote and snowy to New York. And then we find out that Mark Wahlberg isn't that good old Southern boy. He is the assassin hired to take them out.
Nice.
And then in the scuffle between him and Michelle Dockery, his hat comes off, and he has like this big bald patch in the middle. So start with ridiculous accent. Go with a look that most actors might not commit to, that some might argue that they don't want to do that. Meanwhile, Wahlberg's just like, yeah, I'll do it, okay. And then for the rest of the trailer, he's unhinged. And at one point, he mocks them by putting on the accent again. He's like, y'all need a pilot? And he's like handcuffed in the back. And whoever in Lionsgate's marketing department saw this trailer and picked up on that line deserves a raise, because right on the poster is Bloody Mark Wahlberg, and it says, the movie's tagline is, y'all need a pilot? And just, it beautifully, it rides the bubble of parody action movie you would see in a comedy and actual thing that could be awesome and so much fun.
I want that as a t-shirt. Y'all need a pilot?
Yeah, but you need to have the Bloody Mark Wahlberg / Mike Tyson face right above it. And you just have to have it in the red letters on the bottom. Y'all need a pilot. Like, if they're not handing those out at screenings, I'm going to be personally disappointed.
It made me think.
Lionsgate, it's not too late.
My buddies have we always go back to the joke. It comes up. You remember what's his name? Randy Quaid in Independence Day.
Yeah.
I can fly. You need a pilot? I can fly.
You idiot. Lucas's farm's on the other side of town.
I don't know why that. Yeah, I can fly.
Well, because it's basically like Randy Quaid sobering up as that character and just out of nowhere is like, I can fly.
Have you ever seen the alternate scene of that ending?
Yeah.
Of him in the biplane showing up with the missile strapped to the side?
I kind of think I like that one better.
I hadn't seen it for years, okay?
Yeah.
And it popped up, and it was one of those things where it looks so cool, and I forgot about this. And then I started watching it, and they said, yeah, we didn't use it because we didn't want it to be a comical ending. We wanted it to be serious. I'm like, I totally get that. Say no more, you know?
Yeah. And then I remember, oh man, this is going back to the summer that Independence Day came out. My mother used to read the Star tabloid.
Oh boy.
And in the Star, they had an article, and she made a point to show it to me because that summer I was all about Independence Day because I saw it with my dad on opening weekend, and that was when they like moved the release date a day earlier, so it opened on the day that the attack started.
Oh wow!
And I remember standing in line with my dad, and we went and saw it. I read the novelization beforehand. I loved it to death, and then my mom showed me this thing about, they're making Independence Day too. And like one of the concepts that was rumored to be in play was that Randy Quaid's character didn't die in that attack. He was actually abducted again, and he was on one of the alien ships.
Oh, of course. Well, they brought back Brent Spiner in it. You thought he was dead.
Oh, I loved that. And then the way he teased the sequel that I still kind of want to happen, even though Resurgence was okay. Resurgence wasn't a massive failure, but it was okay.
Yeah.
Even with I have a lot of issues with that movie, especially with President Whitmore and how they use his character, and the fact that they didn't bring back I'm blanking on Mae Whitman to play the daughter again.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's one of those movies. It's like, wow, you were so close to being good.
The sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's fun. It is actually fun to watch. It's underwhelming considering how long it took. But now I have to wonder, if I saw that movie in 1997, would I have been as hard on it, or would it have just been the sequel that made sense at the time?
It's a sequel that uses too many beats from the first movie, I think.
Yeah.
You know, where I want it to be like, I want to see more about that universe. I just don't want to see a remake of the first Independence Day. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend on the line with me. All right, as we do get to the end of this and start to wrap up, because somehow we stumbled into the world of Independence Day and stayed there longer than
it was because of Mark Wahlberg's piloting skills.
We're going to end.
Look, all I'm saying is if I was fighting those aliens, it'd be done.
Yeah. We're going to wrap up this week talking Bill Cobbs. Sadly, we are recording on, what is today, Thursday? Passed away last night, which would have been on Wednesday, at the age of 90. And this was one, I didn't realize he was 90 years old.
Gentleman was, in fact, 90, and Cleveland born, was not only a star of films, but also of television as well. And just looking back on his resume, I was surprised to see some of the things that I did. First of all, I remember Bill Cobbs from Demolition Man. I remember him from, of course, Night at the Museum. That Thing You Do, Hudsucker Proxy. Like, That Thing You Do and Hudsucker Proxy are probably two of my favorite roles of his. Because in Hudsucker Proxy, he plays this wonderful sort of fourth wall breaking narrator that's just so damn smart and keeping on top of everything. And then That Thing You Do, he has two really big scenes with Tom Everett Scott.
He was Del Paxton.
So important to the movie, and he's just Del Paxton, exactly. And that's what led me to when I was closing out the obit. I wrote his obit yesterday, and when I was closing it out, I said, "Today he is all of our biggest fans." And just
that's really well done.
that the man was versatile. I didn't know he was in The Bodyguard. I didn't know he was in the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Was he?
He was, apparently. He was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Elderly S.H.I.E.L.D.
And then
agent.
when I was going back to his part in Demolition Man, you look at him playing Zachary. He is playing an older version of a character we've been introduced to through a younger actor in the beginning. You know, you don't think much of it, but then we're reintroducing this character. This is the first time he's probably working with Sylvester Stallone on this set. He's in for maybe a day or two, filming those control room scenes. But in that instance, you buy him being Sylvester Stallone's best friend.
Yeah.
That he knew from way back when. You buy the connection. And Bill Cobb is probably another one of those actors, and just in this alone, where you put him in a movie for 5 minutes, he's going to crush. He's going to automatically give you what you need. And he is just one of those ball players that you bring in when you need to clench it, when you need the heat.
Yeah.
And he just, even in Night at the Museum, I was surprised to see him play a bad guy, but he also did that so charmingly.
He was also, I forgot about it. I was just looking through it. Here's another Star Trek connection. He was in Star Trek Enterprise for an episode.
Really?
Yeah, he was Dr. Emery Erickson, the man who invented the transporter.
That is awesome. And I need to see this episode. Like, just Bill Cobbs was one of those people where, again, you put his name in the credits, you know that you're excited.
Yeah.
Because you know that face. At first, it's like he's one of those character actors where at first you may not have remembered his name, but then the more you saw him, it's like, that's Bill Cobbs. That's Bill Cobbs. And then eventually it got to the point where you see his name and it's like, oh, okay, I am ready. I am officially with you for that scene there, and everything else will be up for debate. But I mean, I still know what you did last summer. A Mighty Wind. Just amazing range on Oz the Great and Powerful. I forgot he was in Oz the Great and Powerful. And the Muppets, like the 2011 Muppets movie.
Trading
and
Places.
TV, he's on TV, he's in LA. I didn't even know he started with the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Which, if you're going with if you're starting your movie career, that's a hell of a movie to start with.
What a great dude! Like that was one I saw him the news that he passed last night. I was legitimately sad about it. You know?
Yeah, because you have so many fond memories of this person showing up in the things you loved and being always contributing, never taking away, never grandstanding or showboating. He was just always a consummate performer.
Yeah.
I mean, I was lucky enough to talk to Kevin Costner about Donald Sutherland's passing, and it's the same. He said the same thing about him. He was another actor that was like Donald Sutherland, where you put them in there, it doesn't matter how long they're in there, you're invested.
All right. Well, to Bill Cobbs, we wish you nothing but the best in the great beyond. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend joins me every week on the show to talk about movies. We'll end it there. Mike, you have yourself a good one.
You too, sir. I will see you next week.